So living in the dorms, I lived in the residential college my first year at Michigan. I don't know if nervous is the right word, but didn't really know what to expect from college or dorm life or anything like that. I thought that maybe a smaller setting would be a benefit to me, like academically and socially, and I decided to come live here instead. So my name is Miranda Schaefer. I'm the Vice President for Education at the Inter-Cooperative Council of Ann Arbor. I go to the University of Michigan and I live in Inter-Cooperative House. I went to like a kind of smallish high school. I liked it, and my personal identity wasn't that I felt like I was low income. I always felt like I had more than I needed growing up. My mom actually owns a small business in Battle Creek. She has a senior care home, and so I grew up I always say with like 6 grandmas upstairs, and I grew up like helping out and doing that kind of stuff. So my choice of living in an intentional community, specifically the ICC and Luther House, I think reflects my own passion for creating a more kind of egalitarian world. I mean, it's very like idealistic, but I mean, you gotta strive for something. So the way I see the ICC's vision is to be inclusive, affordable, and democratic, and that's kind of the principles that our standing rules are based off of. And I really like being a part of an organization that has those tough conversations about classism, about race relations, because even though it is social justice oriented, people from all different identities can live here, things still happen, and everyone is still coming in with their different biases and prejudices that you can't help but pick up walking through life, and so it's a good place to challenge those.
Before coming to the University of Michigan, I lived at home and was commuting to and from school. My house was foreclosed. I didn't really have anywhere else to go, honestly, so my parents were trying to decide like when they were going to be renting a new place, if they could afford to get a room with me, and I told them like they didn't have to worry about it. I'd figure out something once I got here. So. My name is Austin Goff. I live at Luther House, which is just one of the many student co-ops here in Ann Arbor. We're just a part of the Inter-Cooperative Council of the ICC. Each house is run unitarily, like controlled all by themselves, and then they have a board rep that connects every house. Like, I'm a leftist, honestly, so like this was like, as soon as I started reading about it, like I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. Like it was, I mean, if I were to describe and compare it to like a fraternity, like I'd usually say like it's kind of like a communist co-ed frat almost. Because we're student-run, member-run organization, like affordability is like first and foremost. So we attract like a lot of different people who couldn't afford to live in the student high-rises or the big frat mansions here. Education is really important to us. The ICC offers a lot of different training seminars on things from like basic maintenance to like passing kitchen inspections, as well as we have something called cooperative leadership training where we teach people about bystander intervention, bias reduction, survivor support.
My name is Setha Zachman. I'm a student at the University of Michigan, a senior, and I live at the Blackout Co-op. My mom's friend thought that co-ops might be good for me, specifically just because I had never lived on my own before, and then also just because there are, an LGBTQ minority that kind of, searches out these kinds of houses to feel, more welcome and have that space when they're on campus here. Growing up in rural northern Michigan, just specifically with the demographics of my town, the size of it, and just kind of the religious kind of domination in that area, it made it very hard for me to be myself, and I was very isolated. I mean, I became kind of like definitely angry and like kind of, I took on kind of like a rebel mode, which kind of became revolutionary for other students at the school who were also struggling and would maybe never ever come out, unless they had someone to really look to and others to help them, just because there's no representation there. I had my car like graffitied once with like, discriminatory words. I felt ashamed. It was horrible. It sucked. I felt very depressed and alone, and I felt weird. Coming here, it's a totally different feeling. Like I'm celebrated. Here at the co-op, it's amazing because it's so open to just like celebrating all aspects of life and diversity, and it's pretty awesome. The housemates here really definitely do try, and I mean, they ask you and say like, let's go do something, and and just kind of involve me in things, and I definitely slowly opened up. It took me some time, definitely, just adjusting. It was such a big change. Sometimes it gets heated in our house meetings, yeah, and then sometimes out of house meetings, whatever, I don't know, maybe occasional yelling between housemates. It gets like kind of sad, I mean, just because we all do live in such a tight area that you all kind of feel that energy. I don't know if something happens, that's not cool. We definitely talk about it and communicate and then hold people responsible.
My community works to reduce consumption and waste by composting, recycling. We have a sustainability steward as one of our officers who picks out different sustainable initiatives to run throughout the year. We try to plant trees. We have a gardening budget as well. We have been trying to plant our own food unsuccessfully thus far, but maybe this time it'll work. My community creates a very satisfying social life. We're always trying to plan different events and host local bands here. We have a lot of house bonding events. We have a little movie Monday, and we got wine Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday. We got a whole bunch going on here.
Anything from our flyers to the murals on our walls to ICC t-shirts are all drawn by members and from people who live in my house, which is really cool because I can look at a wall and see a little piece of history of the people who lived here 10 years before. Honestly, it makes my everyday little moments better.
Living in a student co-op, that kind of culture will introduce you to ideas that you probably never would have gotten if you lived anywhere else. Going through house meetings, you're going to be forced to listen to people even if you don't agree with them, and you're going to have to come to a consensus on how your house should be run, which is something that's an experience you won't get somewhere else. I've definitely had to deal with many stressful situations that would never have come up if I was not living in a cooperative living environment. I've had to help people that were dealing with mental health issues and breakdowns, and even substance abuse issues. Not only their health, but the health of everybody else that was living here, and all the stress that they were going through by being having to engage in that situation.
For me personally, the challenges of living in a co-housing community is everything a little bit, but at the same time it's a good kind of challenge. Even just the chores, cleaning the bathroom that other people are making gross can be kind of challenging because you're I didn't make this mess, but I still have to clean it up. I'm cooking for 50 people, I have a partner, we have 3 hours to get a meal out there that's hopefully going to satisfy everyone. In that situation, a lot of the times the person that was before us in the chore schedule for doing dishes didn't do their dishes.
Our house is managed totally democratically. We have meetings every 2 weeks where we vote on everything. My community sustains itself economically by voting on a different budget. We vote on how much we're going to put in, each of us for food, for maintenance, for cable, and as well as a social fund for different fun things like pumpkin carving or red Solo cups. The ICC supports a lot of other intentional communities. We've given out loans to new cooperative startups in Detroit. We host NASCO here every year. So people from different co-ops across the country come here and discuss what's working, what's not working.
Yeah, judging by my experience here and what just the feeling that I know that I really thrive when I'm able to be in communal spaces every single day and just actively living together and helping one another out. I would consider living again in cooperative housing, co-housing further after college.
I didn't know about the Fellowship for Intentional Community before, but after learning about it, I think it'll be a perfect resource for people who are looking for an intentional community later. I would want to continue living in co-housing after I graduate because it gives me that really great sense of community. A lot of my basic needs are met by living in co-housing communities like this, and that's something you really can't get living on your own.